Hello, class. I just finished grading all the assignments for the corner plate. To be frank with you, many of you got a bad grade on it. I'm concerned because it is very simple drawing, and I wanted to address this because obviously there's some confusion as to what I'm asking for. And for future assignments, I want this to also be a reference to what is to come. Questions 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, and 10 refer to kinds of lines. Now, I shared with you in your content folder under module 1. If you click on there, you have two PDFs. One is called Lines, Angles, Circles, and Tangencies, and the other one is called Alphabet of Lines. So if you open the Alphabet of Lines, it will be a sheet that looks like this. It gives you the type of line, how it looks in a drawing. It gives you the application and how to look for those lines, and the description or the functions of each one of those lines. If I go back to the previous sheet that I had, note that I took some of those to be able to answer those. So I suggest that you either print them out and have that alphabet of lines PDF handy, or open it for each of these print reading assignments. Okay, so let's get started here. I'm going to go ahead and maybe highlight some of these things so that we can be on the same page. Number 1 asks, what kind of line is A? Now, notice that A is pointing to this line right here. And so you are to look. It kind of looks like this, but look at the function and read the function and look at the sample for that line. So that type of visible line makes up the edges of objects. This line over here obviously did not make that, and so it is not a visible line. It's not a hidden line because it's not a dashed line. It's not a center line. If you go down the list, note under the dimensions, this is obviously part of the mentioning here. And so now we need to look at the types of lines that we have in the mentioning. As you can see here, the dimension line is the one that ends with arrowheads or dots or tick marks, as it is explained here. So it is not a dimension line. The next line that we have are extension lines, and it says that extension lines extend out from the object. This line is extending out from the object. Therefore, your answer for number 1 would have been extension line. Letter B is right here, and it's pointing to a line that is formed by a long dash, one short dash, long dash, short dash, long dash, etc. And that is obviously a center line. Number 3 is letter C. Letter C is this continuous line, and as you can see here, is a little thicker than some of these other lines, and also it makes up the shape of the object, so therefore that is clearly a visible or object line. I'm going to jump to number 8. What kind of line is E? E was the same as A, therefore that's an extension line here. F. F is the one that carries the value and it ends with arrowheads. Lines that end with an arrowhead that is part of the dimensioning system, then that is called a dimension line. Letter F is a dimension line. Letter G is pointing to this line here. And as you can see, something that points to something and is used like this, it's called a leader line. So that was the answer for number 10. Now let's look for questions 4, 5, 6, 7, and 11. 4, I'm going to switch to this other plane here so that I can write stuff down. Okay, For number 4, determine the overall length of the plate. That is from left edge to right edge. So from left edge, this is the left edge of the object here. And then the right edge is all the way to the right of the object, which is over here. This is the distance that I am looking for. What is this distance right there? All right, as you can see here, we have 0.05. That is the distance from the edge to the center point of this circle. And then from there to the next circle is 1.5. So we have 1.5. I'm going to write it here. 1.5, 1.50 is the same thing. Then we have plus the 0.5 that we had originally. And now the question is the arc area here. But I'm not asking for the length of the arc. I'm asking for the distance from here to here. Okay, what is that distance? If you opened the other sheet, which is labeled lines, angles, circles, and tangencies, and have that opened, you will note that this assignment looks like this. When you have circular shapes, there's a couple of things that we need to remember. The diameter of the circle is the distance between the edge of the circle all the way across the inside of the circle to the other edge of the circle, passing through the center point. The radius of a circle is the distance between the edge of the circle and the center point. Okay, so if we look at the assignment again, we note that we don't have a circle, we have an arc. But if we had a circle, it would look like this, right? And if I was to put this circle in the right position, it would look like this. Well, the radius of that circular shape is here, 1.5. If the radius is the distance from, I'm going to do this in orange line, from the center point of the circle to the edge of the circle, that means that the length of that line is 1.5. If I was to draw another line from another edge to the center point, that's the same length as the previous one. So if I continue to draw any type of lines here, note that the distance does not change. From the edge to the center point is the same. So if I want this distance here, that's the same length as my line, which would be the same length as the radius of the circle, and that is 1.5. So this last segment of that length is 1.5. So if I take 1.5 plus 0.5 plus the 1.5, that gives me a total of 3.5. So your answer for number 4 will be 3.50 or 3.5. Likewise, let's look at distance 5. I'm going to go ahead and clean this up again, but I want to leave this circle here because the same principle will apply for that answer as well. We're going to do this in blue. Number 5 asks, determine the overall height of the object or the plate from top. That means from this line here. Okay, horizontal line here, all the way to the bottom of the plate, which is right here. So I am looking at the distance or the length of this line that I am drawing now. Let's look at the information we are given. From the bottom edge of the plate to this circle, that's 0.75, so I'm going to write it down. Then I have the distance from center point to center point, and that is 1, so I'm going to write 1. And we have this area now from this line to here. I'm looking for that length, And as you can see, if I was to look again at the same arc that we had previously and drawing more lines from the center to the edge of the circle, that is the same as the radius, and therefore that will give me this length. So that would be the radius of that circular shape. That length that was missing is 1.5. So if we add these together, then you would have a total of 3.25. That would be your answer for number 5. I'm going to go back to the previous sheet just because it's cleaner. I don't need these anymore because we answer those questions. Number 6 says give the center distance between two upper holes. The upper holes are here and here. The question asks for the center distance between the two of them. You have an extension line there and there. It gives you that, and 1.5 will be the answer for number 6. Number 11 says what radius forms the rounded corner of the plate, which is here. The radius for that would be given here, and that's 1.5. And number 12 and 13, I think most of you got those correctly. Name the material specified. It's given to you in the form of a note. It's malleable iron. And then number 13 says how many corner plates are required. And it tells you that we need 4 plates. That is all. I'm going to give you an opportunity to rewrite your answers and submit it through the message board, and I will change your grade. Now, for future references, you always have to go back to all kinds of information that I gave you, these 2 PDFs. For the next assignments, anytime I assign something new, I will give you instructions as either through a video or a slideshow or a PDF that actually gives you the information needed to complete the assignment.